A good number of years has passed, and this is a Sports Cup S2 by Hobbyzone, Horizon Hobby. And what we're going to be doing is going brushless. And this is just a shell. I got a motor in here, and I'll bring you nice and close and show you how we're going to do things. We're going to remove the motor, try to take off some of the silicone, shake it, get the 4 pins up, and we're going to have to modify the cowl area just a little bit. So you're going to need to have a knife, a needle nose if it's angled or not, and a Phillips screwdriver. That's about all you need, and glue, of course. Now the Phillips I have, not the Phillips, the needle nose I have is a special one. It's got little cutters on it. Some of them don't have cutters, they're just plain and simple. And I am going to be using the same prop adapter. You're going to need a BL180 brushless motor. It sells for $30 shipped. You get the motor mount, the extension cable, and the bolts that go with it. Now this is about the size of my thumb to where the first knuckle almost bends where your thumbnail is at. You're going to need a prop adapter, and the prop adapter will go on there. You don't get this included. It's something that should have been in there, because I don't see how you can put a propeller on this particular motor. So it's kind of a catch-22 with these two things, and that sells for $5 to $6. Without any further ado, let's get started. But let me just tell you, I got myself a 1mm bolt kit. It's going to come in handy, trust me. As much as I want to make you comfortable, I want to make myself comfortable. And that's the best thing you can do, is make sure everything that is in your way, not in your way. Well, this is the plane. Let me just get that out of the way. This is the BL180 motor. You're going to grab a PT0 Phillips, and you're going to grab one of the bolts. You're going to try not to lose these things, because you can lose them very easily. And this is basically very self-explanatory. You're going to line up the hole and simply drive one screw in. If these screwdrivers were magnetic, it'd be a good thing. They're not, but they still hold it into place. So as you start to tighten things down, you don't want to overly tighten it until all 3 bolts are in. Do you put Loctite on this? Yes, you could put Loctite, let it dry, fully dry, away from plastic. And then you could simply set it in and tighten. So here we go, nice and tight. We get all 3 of these bolts down. You don't want them to back out and lose them in flight. This is the last one to tighten, and then I'm just simply going to double check. Don't want to overly tighten things. So now this is nice and tight. There is one more bolt you need to put on, and this is going to be the long bolt to the motor mount. You're simply going to grab the motor mount. The cable goes to the right or left hand side. You're going to line up the hole and then simply put this into place. As it goes in, you'll see it start to go in here, tighten down. And there you go. You know you got that on. So as it goes down, it's going to crimp down, and we're good. So now we're all set up, everything's done. There's still one more thing to do. In the kit, you're going to get a bolt, and I'm not going to use that particular bolt, and it's over here in the prop adapter, because you're using, say, a 725 propeller that's open, that doesn't have a spinner on, and you want to keep to the same look. I grabbed myself a bolt, and I am going to simply just show you like so. I grab the head, I snap it, off it goes. Now I simply leave the point to the outside. I want to grab it like so. I want to hold on to the prop adapter, and I want to start to tighten this. So as I start to tightening this, it's going to thread. How deep do I want to go? Just as deep enough it grabs it, right? And just a little bit more. And then I want to go grab my propeller. I want to make sure I hold my motor mount, and I want to spin this on. I'm not sure if the bolt in there is moving or the propeller, but you can see this comes off. I'm going to put a little glue on there to make sure it stays. So I think this is not going to spin off. But at least I got my original system on. All this is taken care of. We have an extension cable you don't need at this given time, because our next video is going to actually show you me gluing this. To me, to glue it right now may not be the appropriate time. I don't want to rush things. So I grab my Phillips. I always call it a Phillips. I grab my pin nose. I simply hold my motor mount and I take it off. Since I don't have the board, it's a lot easier to show you how I take my motor out all the time. It comes out that easy. Over here you're going to take, and this has already been prepared, there's nothing special. There are 4 areas of interest. They got points and they're dug into your foam. You're going to simply work this up, lift it off, and try not to get any foam. Just ever so gingerly work it around. Then grab the propeller shaft and start to just work it back and forth. As you start to work it back and forth, again, you're going to start to lift up. Maybe you want to grab the pin nose. I didn't call it the Phillips this time. And you want to start to lift the glue. And once you make that break, then you're able to pull that out. Don't throw this out. You can see I got some of the foam with it. Not a lot, but some. Not bad at all. Now, this is the part where I don't want to rush things. I want to take my time and think about what I'm about to do. I'm not sure if this is the way my wires are going to be fit in, up, down over here, or on the top. I want to make sure my propeller is not sticking too far out or too far in. But if I simply lay it in there, grab my cover, just gently cover everything up, I don't have to do much of modifications. If asked, how much of the shaft is sticking out? Maybe 1.5 millimeters, not much. When you get the prop adapter, you'll see the actual space it has on it. It's got 2 spaces. It's the first space, and I'll bring it up nice and close to you. Right over here, this first space, you want it to be right about there. So over here, right here and here, there's going to be a little cut, and over here this is going to be taken away. But once I get it to fit in right about there, this will now spin. If it don't spin freely, now I'm going to put a little lube on here, and that should work. So I simply am going to make my marks, cut this out, and put it in. I'm going to probably use an X-Acto knife rather than a blade. And I don't have an X-Acto knife to do this. I am going to wait for the board before I start to glue this so I can simply sit this in. I am more or less almost halfway done with my mod. The board and the battery. Once the battery comes, I'm set to go. So there you have it. The glue's going to have to dry on this, and I hope to see you on the next video, continuing on such a number of years that hardly you see anybody doing a how to do a brushless system on a Sports Cub S2. This is part 1, saying thank you very much for viewing, and we'll see you on the next one on gluing and preparing the motor mount to the Cub. Well, that's all the battery power I got for this time to show you what's happening. So I hope to see you coming back to see me how I'm going to glue this down, cut it out, and preparing for the board. The board is a little complicated because you have to basically adjust the push rods a little bit. So on that note, hope to see you on the next video. Going brushless with the Sports Cub S2. See you all later. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe.